A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A plus English because it's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A plus way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A plus English.
Hello everyone, welcome to A Plus English. I'm Mike.
And I'm Laura.
We should be saying all of this in Vietnamese because we're going to be discovering Da Nang, the Hawaii of the East.
Nice.
I thought we were the Hawaii of the East.
Exactly.
We have mountains, we have kind of volcano. Well, anyways, there's many Hawaiis of many parts of the world, and Vietnam is one of the places. But to be honest, they have long, beautiful beaches there.
Right.
Kind of like in Hawaii, and it's much cheaper.
Ooh.
So that's good. So that kind of gets into our what do you know question. What do you know about Vietnam? I know it's much cheaper than Hawaii.
Right, okay.
There you go.
I actually went to Ho Chi Minh City.
I did too.
Really?
Yes.
My friend used to work there, and my brother is actually now there for business.
Wow, so he's living there now? Or he's just traveling?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, well, Vietnam is a beautiful country in Southeast Asia.
It is.
It uses the Vietnamese dong as its currency, and people obviously speak Vietnamese.
They do.
And the country is known for its delicious street food like hơ phần, pho.
Pho, yes.
Pho, okay, beef noodle soup, 生牛肉汤, and rice paper rolls. I love those.
Those are delicious.
越南生春卷.
Yes.
And they also have amazing French, like, Vietnamese style French baguettes.
Yes.
就是越南的法式面包. Yummy.
Yeah, called banh mi.
Yeah.
Banh mi, very
Actually,
good.
a lot of my classmates back in Australia were Vietnamese.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people.
They were super friendly and chill.
Okay, yeah, a lot of Vietnamese people moved to Australia and California, many parts of the world, and their food is delicious. It's very popular. I've heard from people who know the Vietnamese food here in Taiwan is actually quite good. There's a lot of Vietnamese people who work here as well. So if you like that kind of food, Vietnam, it's just 2 or 3 hours by plane?
Yeah.
It's pretty close, and it's wonderful. It's nice and cheap. The people are friendly. I had an amazing thing there. I went to a really cool restaurant. I had a one-bite pho.
One bite.
They took all the flavors in a whole bowl of soup with the noodles and the beef and the basil and the onions. They put it into this tiny little thing. It was like a bubble of delicious.
So cute.
And you put it in your mouth and it was the taste of pho in one bite. So they have amazing food there, from street food to fancy food. The shopping's great. It's really nice. Cheap. There's a lot of stuff to do there. So we will only be exploring one tiny part of Vietnam, but the good news is where we will be visiting today is pretty much exactly in the middle of the country.
Okay.
So it's a good place to go. You can go north, you can go south, you can stay there. We're going to find out all about it. So let's do that.
Discovering Da Nang, the Hawaii of the East. Warm-up question. What do you know about Vietnam?
Welcome to Da Nang, Vietnam. It's in the middle of the country. People call it the Hawaii of the East. The history of Da Nang goes back to the year 192 AD. It was a port of the Champa Kingdom. In the mid-1800s, France started to colonize Vietnam.
All right, so the article begins in a very warm and welcoming way. Welcome to Da Nang, Vietnam. It's in the middle of the country. Hey, I just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
it is. Look at the map. It's right there in the middle of the country, and it's right on the coast. So, of course, if you do want to get to the beach, Da Nang is a great place to kind of have your home base, and then you can travel up and down. You can visit the beaches, and it's actually also a very lovely city in itself, Da Nang, too.
Oh, okay. So the country, Yunnan, is Vietnam in English, but if we want to talk about the language or people, okay, 就是国籍啊，或者是民族的话，我们要讲到越南话、越南人 we need to use the word Vietnamese. So don't get those confused.
Yes.
Yeah, similar examples include the country, 法国 is called France, and the nationality or the language is French.
Ooh, that's a good one. Another one I
法国人
often hear people make mistakes of. They say the country of German. The country is Germany.
Germany.
The people are German. The language is German. The
Exactly.
sausages are German, but the country is Germany. So yes, do not
Don't
make those
get
mistakes.
me hungry by talking about sausages.
yum, yum, yum.
OK， 所以当描述国籍或是民族，形容词通常是用来修饰名词。所以像是越南食物，你可以说 Vietnamese food。那法语就是 French language. There you go.
There you go. People call it the Hawaii of the East. This is a common thing people will do, right? They'll kind of take a famous, beautiful place,
Right.
and they'll find another place in another
Yeah.
part of the world that's quite similar, and they'll call it the Paris of the Orient or something like that.
Exactly.
I think Edinburgh was once called the Paris of the North. Or
Okay.
something. I don't know why. But anyway, so
Interesting.
they call it the Hawaii of these. So that just means there's some things that are kind of similar or kind of alike between these two places. But of course, they are not the same place. It says the history of Da Nang goes back to the year 192 AD. Wow, that's like almost 2,000 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
That's incredible.
So I sort of get that Hawaii idea because Da Nang has beautiful beaches,
True.
warm weather,
That's right.
and amazing views, just
true.
like Hawaii.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah,
true.
so that's really interesting. Beaches and history together.
yeah.
Da Nang must be a cool place to visit where people can enjoy the ocean and learn about ancient culture in the same trip. Perfect, right? I'm going.
Sounds absolutely perfect. And it says it was a port of the Champa Kingdom. All right, so this is way back in history, maybe as far back as 192 AD. But before there was this country that we call Vietnam with, that shape on a map,
Right.
there was another group of people who lived there at the time, and they were the Champa people. And I guess so that was the Champa Kingdom.
Nice. Okay, I
interesting.
want to explain this a little bit in Chinese. It's
Yeah.
a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
So port 这个字就是港或是港口，它是个名词。那 Champa Kingdom 我们翻译是占婆王国，这是东南亚的一个强大国家。它存在于刚刚有提到，就是公元2世纪到19世纪初，主要是位于越南中南部。那这段期间内呢，这个岘港因为是重要的港口，变得非常的繁荣哦。
All right, so the Champa Kingdom was probably there for quite a long time, maybe
Right.
hundreds of years. But remember, that was a long time ago. Now, if we go back in history just a little bit of time, around 100 years, it says in the mid-1800s, France started to colonize Vietnam. They were actually there a little bit before that, but the mid-1800s would be around, 1840 to 1850. And that was when the French had a colony in Vietnam, kind of like how the British had a colony in Hong Kong or
Right.
India and places like that. So at that time, the French government was in charge of what we now know as Vietnam.
Because of this history, you can see French influences in Da Nang now. One famous example is the Da Nang Cathedral. The French built it in 1923, and it's famous for its pink walls. If you want to enjoy the sun and relax, don't miss Mi Cay Beach. It's 30 kilometers long and has white sand and clear water.
All right, so for a long time there in Vietnam, the French were kind of the bosses, the rulers of the country.
Yeah.
And it says because of this history, you can see French influences in Da Nang now. So there are still these old French buildings, French influences. You talked about banh mi, that wonderful Vietnamese sandwich made with a French baguette, a nice long French loaf of bread. That's just one example. In the same way that here in Taipei, we have old buildings in the Japanese style, right? Because the Japanese were here 100 years ago. They built a lot of stuff, and it's still there, and it still gives you the feeling of that old time. So you can still see some of this influence. It says one famous example is the Da Nang Cathedral. So it will look probably like any big old church that you might find in France. I remember when I was in Ho Chi Minh City, down south, they have a beautiful opera house, which is also kind of in the French style. So that's really cool that this old history, you can still see bits of it around the country.
Right. Many buildings in Da Nang, like the one mentioned here, Da Nang Cathedral, 就是岘港大教堂, have French-style designs. You can see beautiful churches, old government buildings, and charming houses that look like French buildings. Another French influence can be also found in the language. I heard that some French words are used in Vietnamese, especially in places with French history.
Absolutely. And still now they use sort of Western letters to write Vietnamese. But the funny thing is I learned this. You have to read those words with more of a French style accent than the English style. That's the way it sort of makes sense. It says the French built it, that's the cathedral. The French built it in 1923, and it's famous for its pink walls. A beautiful pink cathedral.
I love it.
That's cool.
Pink.
Yeah, that's your cathedral.
It's my cathedral.
There you go.
所以因为它的外观是粉红色所以其实它又称为粉红大教堂 and hence it's also called Pink Cathedral.
Okay.
然后教堂的尖塔上有一个象征法国殖民时期的公鸡风向标，因此它也称为公鸡教堂。And did you know that it's also called the Rooster Church?
Really?
It has that like mark, a rooster mark at the top.
Okay, Cock-a-doodle Cathedral. There you go. If you want to enjoy the sun and relax, don't miss Mi-Ke Beach or Mi-Ke Beach. Or Mai-Ke Beach. I don't know exactly. My Vietnamese is really bad. But there you go. Make a note of that name. Find it on a map. It is definitely a place you'd want to visit. After you've looked around the city, you can hit the beach on a beautiful sunny day. I think you would love it there.
I would. It's on my must-visit checklist. I just love the sun and want to relax by the ocean. Yeah, relax 就是放松. It just means the same thing as chill out, unwind, or rest, take a break.
There you go. Have a little holiday and enjoy yourself.
So let's continue reading about the article to get to know more about this beach.
This beach is big. So finding a nice private spot where you can get away from the crowds shouldn't be hard, but you might have to walk a good distance. It says the beach, it's 30 kilometers long and has white sand and clear water. So if you're driving a car quickly, it might take you about half an hour to get from one end of the beach to the other. This is a big old beach, but of course, kind of like Hawaii, it's got white sand, it's got clear water, and as we said, it's big, so you can probably find a nice quiet spot where you can put your blanket down and really enjoy the beach and enjoy relaxing on it.
Right, okay. 所以中文呢，如果你们想要 Google 一下这是哪里，就是美西沙滩。那它的全长是大概30公里，非常大哦。And was selected by UNESCO in 2005 as one of the 6 most beautiful beaches in the world.
Really?
Yeah, and I heard that there are also great seafood restaurants nearby where you can enjoy tasty local dishes. Oh my gosh, it's a perfect place to unwind and enjoy the beautiful views. Let's go!
All right.
哇，今天的文章让我好想要赶快冲去越南度假哦。那首先我们先来学一下刚刚提到的单字有哪些。Country 是个名词，就是国家，像是呢 Japan is my favorite country to visit. 日本是我最喜欢去的国家哦。Or Aaron left Canada and moved to the country of Taiwan. Aaron 离开了加拿大，然后搬到台湾这个国家。 下一个单字是历史，就是 history 这个名词。In history class, I learned that pirates didn't really bury treasure. 在历史课我学到海盗其实不会真的埋宝藏哦。那单字例句提到的是 The violin has a long history. It's more than 400 years old now. 这把小提琴历史悠久，它的琴龄已经超过400年了。再来就是 kilometer 这个名词就是公里。I can run 1 kilometer if I get ice cream at the finish line. 真的，如果呢要我跑1公里的话，我可以哦，但是终点要有冰淇淋，要不然我没有动力哦。那单词例句提到的是 I walk to school every day. It's only a kilometer away from my house. 我每天都走路上学，学校距离我家只有1公里远。再来看到是 sand 这个名词就是沙子。The beach was covered in soft white sand. 海滩上覆盖着柔软的白沙。Or Allie went to the beach yesterday and now there's sand in her shoes. Allie 昨天去海边，现在她的鞋子里都是沙子。好，那我们看到的 miss 这个字呢，在本课有错过的意思哦，它是个动词，像是如果你会不会早上晚起就会 miss the bus 错过公车，那 miss 也可以用在错过某个好康好机会，像是 Don't miss this sale, it ends tomorrow. 不要错过这次的折扣活动，明天就结束了。或者讲一个好玩的 If aliens land tomorrow, don't miss taking a selfie with them. 如果外星人明天来了，不要错过跟他们咔吱自拍的机会哦。Okay, now let's go to our review time.
Review time.
All right, we are here with our review time activity, and we are going to just quickly review some of the words that we learned today. First of all, let's remember what all of them were: country, history, kilometer, and sand. Now, remember how those worked into our story? I'm going to do a simple game with Laura. We're going to play definitions. I'm going to basically tell you the meaning of the word, and you have to guess which word I am describing or talking about. We'll start
great
off
at it.
really easy.
Okay.
Are you ready to start really easy?
Yeah.
100,000 centimeters.
Kilometer.
Right. Very good. I could have also said 1,000 meters, but I think 100,000 centimeters is fun. And okay, let's tiny pieces of rock.
Is it sand?
Yeah, I think sand.
Okay.
Sand is basically tiny pieces of rock. That's what you find on a beach.
Super easy.
There we go. We're going to have more about Da Nang and areas around it tomorrow, so please do come back for that. We've been to the beach. We've learned some history. We've looked at a big pink cathedral. We haven't eaten anything yet, so I'm hoping
hungry.
we're going to have some food tomorrow.
Pretty sure.
Because one of the main things people love about Vietnam is the eats. So come back and join us for that. We will see you then. Bye-bye.
喜欢今天内容，记得按赞、订阅、开启小铃铛，你就不会错过任何精彩内容喽！拜拜。
Come back FOMO tomorrow.